as a man, did you ever go into a bathroom and think, is there going to be toilet paper in here for this unplanned potty break I need? No man has ever thought that. But every woman is like, oh, shoot, I got my period and I don't have anything. And there's nothing in here. Or even better, there's an old, fossil machine hanging on the wall that's half broken, half falling off. And if it does work, it needs a quarter. And I don't know the last time you carried a quarter. Like, can this take Apple Pay? Can we do something to make this more modern?
Welcome to Built in Vegas, the podcast where we spotlight the stories, strategies, and resources behind the businesses that make Vegas thrive. Whether you're starting up or scaling up, you're in the right place. Brought to you by the Video Podcast Studio.
Just to kind of dive in first, can you just kind of introduce yourself and then talk a little bit about, what is Project Marilyn?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Wendi Schweigart. I'm the founder of Project Marilyn. And Project Marilyn is a nonprofit here in the state of Nevada, and we work on a cause known as period poverty. So period poverty is three things. It's the lack of access to period products, it's the lack of access to education surrounding menstruation, and it's also the lack of access to proper hygiene facilities. So 2 in 5, the common statistic is 2 in 5 women can't afford period products every year due to lack of income, and 1 in 4 girls misses school each month for the length of her period because she doesn't have period products. So at Project Marilyn, we work to ensure that period products are available to everyone who needs them, work on ending the stigma surrounding your period. These aren't luxury items, and, that's our main mission.
How did you get started in founding Project Marilyn?
So I founded Project Marilyn in 2019. Marilyn was my mom. We lost her to cancer in 2011, and our logo is actually her face. It's her, I call it her 1950s glamour shot, and her signature that I kept off her driver's license. She always wore false eyelashes and nude lipstick, so that's how we got our logo. But when she passed away in 2011, she shared with me, Wendi, I don't think I did anything with my life. I don't feel I helped anyone. I don't feel I made an impact. It's just not true. I mean, she was amazing. She taught us tenacity and hard work. And, really, she lived a life of what I call obligation over inspiration. And what I mean by that is she put one foot in front of the other, and she did what she had to do instead of maybe what she really wanted to do. So grew up out here in Las Vegas, always volunteered, was a candy striper at Valley Hospital, did stuff because she passed from cancer with the American Cancer Society. And then in 2019, I was reading People magazine, and it had an article about period poverty. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. As a grown woman, I thought, are you kidding me? Women don't have tampons in the United States? This is ridiculous. And it was the first thing in a very long time that just hit me right in the gut that I want to help with that. That's something that I actually feel passionately about, helping women have the supplies they need to go to school, go to work, hold their head high. And so that's how Project Marilyn was born.
So starting Project Marilyn, did you have any fears? Starting a nonprofit, to me, is such a foreign concept because I've never done that. But were there any fears? Was there any pushback where people telling you, don't do this, right? How did that all happen? How did it get started, and how did you get past those?
So truthfully, I did try to start a chapter of another organization, right? Because I think especially, which obviously I can only speak for our community here, we have a lot of overlap, right? We have a lot of duplication of services, a lot of people wanting to do the same thing. So I did try to do a chapter of another organization out of Southern California, but it did get a little bit, where does the money go? Who's in charge of fundraising, and how do those things, work? So my husband, who is an entrepreneur, he said, do it yourself. And to your point, I said, you can't do it yourself. You can't just be a nonprofit. That's super special and the whole thing. And he said, well, it's really a business. It's just a business, has some different paperwork, some different reporting requirements and whatnot, to have a nonprofit status. So we filed the paperwork, and, Project Marilyn was born. And yeah, it's tough. And I think, not disparaging myself, but I'm not a business person, right? I started it to do something fun with my girlfriends. We'll drink some wine, we'll pack some tampons, and we'll be do-gooders. And then it just got this life of its own. that I'm saying now, 7 years in, I feel it's like a high-speed train and I'm tied to the tracks, like it's become very busy. And the challenge is, I think the biggest challenge is running it like a business, right? Everyone wants you to have the feel good. They want to do the mission, but you've got to run the business. We've got to pay bills. We've got to be in a place where we can afford to do the good thing. And that's the part to me and I think for a lot of nonprofits, that's so challenging.
And I guess where does that support come from? Is it just from fundraising? Are there other avenues that you guys have figured out to turn this into like a business?
I mean, yes. Well, so we do fundraising. We're actually holding our first golf tournament in October. It's End Period Poverty because we love puns, right? But it'll be our first big golf tournament, big anything. I have a lovely grant writer that helps us. We have a lot of lovely private donors, foundations that help us and support us. Period products, you can't use any sort of federal money to buy them. So no SNAP, EBT, or Medicaid because they're still classified as non-essential luxury items. And for anyone who's listening, if you've had your period at one point, I don't know the last time you had a luxurious period. But, I guess it could happen. It's never happened to me. But yeah, just people who love us really support us. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we stay in our lane. We only do period products. That is the one way that I definitely tell people that sets us apart from anyone else doing hygiene is we only do period products. Tampons, pads, liners, wipes. Occasionally we'll throw some period underwear in there. Occasionally we have some other products, but they're all meant for your period. And so I think when people want to support an organization that is working in the period poverty space, they look to us because that's all we're doing.
And besides the money part of the nonprofit being a challenge, what's one of the other challenges you face is with such a growing foundation that's impacting lives? Is it dealing with people within the organization? Is it getting the message out there? Like, what is that struggle?
I think, it's all of it. Well, so it's me and 2 part-time ladies that work with me. So I say we have 2.5 people, right, that work with us. And then we have amazing volunteers. We call them our period posse. And so it's not necessarily within at this point, because I think we're a pretty dialed in team. To that point, how do we bring on new people that fit with us, right? Because for us, it's not just a job. We love it, and the 3 of us have kind of grown in it together. And so it is challenging trying to find someone else to bring in because, like I said, I just don't want you to check the box. I want you to really believe in the mission. Some of the other challenges from the outside have been, when I started Project Marilyn, it was very much the unhoused woman, right? The woman you see on the street, because that is where the idea in the magazine, right? It was about a lady on Skid Row. She had a blood stain on her pants. Somebody said, you should really do something about that. And she said, I can't even eat. So what do you want me to do about this? It's like the least of my worries at this moment. So yes, I started it for the unhoused woman. Now, over the last 7 years, as you go through the community and you interact with more people and you learn about what people are actually going through, people have said, oh, your mission has changed. But the mission really hasn't changed. It's just that it has come to light that if you're down to your last $10, you may not be homeless, but you have your last $10. Your bills are paid. Your kids are fine. You have food. And then you get your period, right? You're not using those last $10 to buy tampons for yourself. You're going to buy something. I mean, I have a 15-year-old son. He's got, when he was little, he had a dress-up day at school every time I turn around. His sports, put gas in the car. And then as women, we put ourselves last. So we're going to have some makeshift situation, some toilet paper, a sock, something, and we're going to get on with it. So we really the mission has grown in that it's all of us. It's anyone who has a period, has been in the place where you needed a tampon and you didn't have one for whatever reason. And so I think some of the outside challenges are some of those criticisms of, oh, well, she said it was this and now it's that. Well, yes and no, right? It is and it is and it isn't. I mean, I think you have to be given the grace to start out with the mission and then be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, and grow with it. It needs to be able to evolve so that it's actually helping people. Because you don't know, at least I didn't know when I started this. I loved the concept. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, gay, straight, Republican, Democrat. A person's period's coming. Fortune 500 CEOs have periods, and unhoused women have periods, and prostitutes have periods, and people in shelters have periods, and kids at school have periods. So how do we help everyone that needs these products, not just the small, population that we think? How do we serve the way people need to be served and not the way I thought it should have been done? We're all learning.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that people would even criticize the fact that you guys are growing and expanding the types of people that you help, because everybody needs help.
Right. Everyone needs help, and that's a community, right? Like sometimes, especially in the period space, you should be responsible for yourself. You should know when your period's coming. Sometimes yes, you should be responsible for yourself. I agree. But sometimes you're responsible for your neighbor, and that's what builds a community, right? So, yes, but people, they're haters. People are mean. They just want to take the good that you're at least trying to do and tell you why it's not good enough, right? And tell you how you could do it better, even if they've never been in the place. And that's fun. I enjoy that.
Well, and it has to be difficult, right? When you put yourself out there and, you're essentially donating your time and trying to do good, trying to help people in need, and then you have this criticism. Like, does that ever hurt emotionally? Like, how do you deal with the criticism? How do you deal with, and maybe not even just there, but, as a founder, as somebody building something, is there ever that imposter syndrome, and how do you overcome those feelings of self-doubt, or, is what we're doing worth it, or can I do this?
Yeah. I mean, let's see. I deal with the criticism. I mean, it hurts my feelings. Okay. The source, right? There's some sources that I would be like, you know what, I really value what you say, and it either hurt my feelings or I'm going to grow from it, right? Because we have a lot of very smart people. And I'll be the first to admit, we're hanging on here, right? We're doing the very best we can with the knowledge and the resources that we have. So, but it's the random critics that it doesn't really bother me, because I know the truth, right? Like I hear certain things and I'm like, it's not necessarily wrong what you said, but it's in the wrong context, right? And I think anyone that truly loves us and loves our mission and supports us, and even those that might be like, oh, I'm not really sure that that's what's needed, free period products, I don't know that that's what's needed, they still have a reference of they're doing it in the right intention, right? As far as I do get imposter syndrome on the business side of things, like I told you, but I surround myself with very smart people, and I'm smart enough to know what I'm not good at, and then I don't have an ego about that, and I try to say like, hey, this is not my area. Can you help me? Can you advise us? And certain things I'm pretty steadfast on, and then certain things I'm like, hey, that was a great idea. I never thought about that. So I definitely think you have to be smart enough to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, and then that's the way you get ahead.
If you could take the 7 years of experience of building this foundation and give advice to somebody out there who is maybe wanting to start a foundation, whether that's helping the unhoused or whatever it might be, and they're scared, they don't know what to do, like, what kind of advice would you give somebody looking to start?
So I guess if you're looking to start, and I do feel a little bit of a hypocrite saying this, because I started my own. I'll be honest, I didn't do much research to see if there was somebody already doing it. Turns out there really wasn't, and there still isn't. And I will say we are the only ones that do it this way, that we, build a period kit, we give out the whole kit just in the context of period poverty. But I would say if you have a mission in your heart that you're looking to work, see if there's somebody that's already doing it well and see if you can support them and see if you can be a resource and at least see how they're doing it before you go off and start your own. We have so many duplication of services. And like I said, I can only speak to this community. But I mean, we have so many wonderful people that want to do it. They want their own nonprofit. And I just don't know if we got together and pooled resources or used, you're really great at graphic design. You're really great in fundraising, you're really great at bookkeeping, and you also want to do X, Y, and Z nonprofit. Maybe try to put those skills to a nonprofit that's already doing that and see if you can make that better and really make an impact. If you want to start your own nonprofit, I mean, I say, I'm always like, go for it. Give it a shot. It is hard though, because there's a lot of things in nonprofit that I've learned are just different than like in a black and white corporate business. You work hard, you get money. It's the end of right? You work hard, the project's complete, you make your money. In nonprofit, you work hard, you get to what you perceive as the end of the line, and then that grows legs, and then you start another something, and it's never funded, and it's never done, and more people need help. And so it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of love. But I think it's worth it. I mean, I still love it, even though I'm tied to the tracks and the high-speed train is coming down. It's still, I wake up every day and I'm like, what do I get to do today? This is fun.
My next question kind of ties into something you were just talking about, right? Because there are a lot of different nonprofits out there, and there's only so many people out there that can donate and can participate. How do you find funding and, I don't want to say compete with other nonprofits, but it kind of is competing with them. Like, how does that work?
So we find funding. I mean, like I said earlier, we have a grant writer. She does grant research for us. The challenge for us is because of the mission we have. For example, some donors will say, we only fund kids, causes that have to do with kids. We only fund causes that have to do with education. We only fund causes that have to do with mental health. So then it is my challenge and the grant writer to show how if you don't have period products, your mental health might be affected, right? To show, we want to have girls that stay in school. We want to have women that are able to have a steady job and stay at work all month long for the whole time they're there. How do period products come into that? I was actually doing, we've, if nothing, I'm pretty authentic and transparent. We've got turned down for a lot of grants recently. Grants I thought, no problem. And they're like, well, you get that lovely, well, it's not me, it's not you, it's me, kind of the breakup email. And you're like, dang. But I think, and I don't know, and someone, listening to this may tear this statement apart, but is it AI? Is it so many more applications are being submitted that have never been submitted before? I had someone say to me the other day, oh, do you just do that through chat? And I'm like, no, I actually have a grant writer. So I don't know if it's increasing the pool of grants. I don't know if it's increasing the quality of the grant application. It's a very strange place to be, the funding side, because you have to make your cause, campaign for yourself, make people feel that your mission is valid, and then they give you money, right? So it's like I said, it's completely different from a corporate job where you're doing your work, you have your result, you make your widget, you sell your widget, you get your money, right? For us, we're just praying that people love us, praying our grant application's good enough, that we told the story well enough. And then certain funders, certain grants are employee grants. So you're working with the poker dealer, the bathroom attendant, right? They're reviewing your grant applications. Some applications are white-collar corporate guys that are reviewing your grant application. So it's all over the place with how are they getting funded? I think we've had a lot of great luck with foundations and donors that it's their money and they feel drawn to it and they support us, versus very broad corporate grants where it's a pool of people and they don't get it or they don't support it or whatever the case is for how you get the funding. Did I answer the question? I feel like I talked in a big old circle.
No, yeah, no, for sure. Well,
We beg a lot. Please give us money.
right. And, one of the things you talked about was, did we tell our story the right way?
Mm-hmm.
I work with a lot of nonprofits, and I have over the years, in town, out of state. And that's always one of the things that whenever we're creating a video for them, it's like, okay, if this is donor facing, we're telling a completely different story, right? This video is being played at the gala, then this is a different video, and we have to tell that story differently, so that way it opens their hearts in that moment.
Right.
And so it is interesting. I think a lot of nonprofits, especially smaller ones, struggle with telling their story because they're just on a mission to go do things. They don't understand the marketing side of it and the psychology behind telling that story. And then we actually had an event the other day at the studio. We were hosting nonprofit nights where we just do like a networking night for nonprofits. There's nobody selling anybody anything, which is nice for nonprofits. And then we give them some free content in the studio, but we also bring in speakers. So we brought in somebody that specializes in fundraising for Roseman University, and we brought the PR person from Roseman University to come in and talk. One thing I thought was interesting with her when we were talking about fundraising was, there is a certain pool of foundations and people in the community. And the bigger ones like it when you have relationships with others so they can go, cool, well, if I donate to you, then we can kind of just run everything. Like if we can work together and come to the foundation, we have higher chances because then we're just dealing with like one person versus like all these people trying to go after the same person.
Right.
So trying to find some partnerships seems like certain foundations prefer that. Like if you partner with other people, because I mean, do you guys partner with like Help of Southern Nevada at all?
Not financially. I mean, so our main mission, so we serve in, I'll just tell you, we serve in 3 different ways. So the first way we serve is our period partner agencies. So we've donated to Help of Southern Nevada. We donate to 3 Square. We donate to Dress for Success, Shine a Light. They take the kits and then distribute them throughout their networks, right? And that's worked really well for us because we're not open to the public, mostly because the women we serve, we recognize will have transportation issues, and you're not going to put your kids in a car and a bus, get a ride to, again, get yourself a tampon, right? You'll figure it out some other way. But, what if I can get tampons or pads when I'm getting food for my kids, when I'm getting counseling, when I'm getting any other service? So, yes, we partner communities and schools. We've donated to, Shade Tree, Safe Nest, Hope, Signs of Hope. I mean, anyone that needs period products, we do our best to donate to them. So yes, we do have a lot of great partnerships, and to back kind of to the fundraising point, a lot of our grants we point towards, hey funder, you support LGBTQIA+. Well, we work with the center. So these kits that you fund will go to the center, or you support kids staying in school. So these kits that you fund will go to communities and schools, right? You support refugees. So this will go to Lighthouse Charities or Volunteers in Medicine. And that's how we kind of maneuver around some of the pillars, some of the funding principles. And that has seemed to work out pretty well for us. I know there's ways to co-write grants. We have not delved into that yet because it still seems, for me anyways, being a smaller nonprofit, well, how does that work? So you get the money and then you give us the money and then we report to you, and then so I'm like, ugh, I don't want to get into that yet. But I do know that, to your point, a lot of times donors and funders will look for the collaboration piece to make a bigger impact.
Yeah, I just thought that was an interesting conversation that they had at the nonprofit night we had. We're going to do more of those. We want to do
invited.
quarterly.
Where's my invite?
Are you part of the Henderson Chamber?
I'm not.
Oh, that's why.
I should.
So we partnered with them.
Okay.
Because they haven't done anything for nonprofits for a while, and we talked about doing it. And
Okay.
They're like,
I'm teasing
we
you.
want to do it with you. No.
Yeah. No, I have. I've heard. I did go to an event from the Las Vegas Chamber. It was great, and then I heard Henderson Chamber is really great as well. Again, it's like, where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your money as a nonprofit, right?
Exactly.
To get the biggest bang for your buck, especially on the relationship side.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is you don't have to be a member. I'll just invite you to
Okay,
the next
good.
one.
Oh, yay.
Because it is our event, but we let them promote it and invite their nonprofits, but then we invite the people we know. But it was cool because it was nice to see like everyone kind of like connecting with each other, and it was like, oh wait, we can do stuff together. Or there's like this new nonprofit that was like basically creating housing for I think just homeless women, just like basically like communal housing for them. I only got to talk to them for a little bit, but it was just interesting because then, you know, they were kind of talking to one of our clients, Empowered, that was there as well, which I actually think Empowered works with you guys as well a little bit.
Yes.
Because they help women that are addicted to opioids.
Oh, is that Roseman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Roseman's Empowered.
Yes, we donate to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we give them period products, and they're a great resource for us too, because we do get a lot of great donations that don't fit in our kits. And so when we give them out in bulk, we give a lot to them, to Share Village, Just One Project, those kind of places, because they can hand them out. The kits are really intended for someone who is unhoused or a girl in school. But yeah, I guess if you can take a gallon of milk and a rump roast, you can take a box of tampons too, right? Coming through a food bank.
Yeah. And then talking a little bit about the services you do provide, obviously you guys donate to a bunch of the nonprofits in town that serve a lot of the people that you guys serve as well for distribution. But then you guys are also like in libraries. Like, how does that work?
Right. So when we started, our first period partner agency was Just One Project. Brooke was like, I'm in, let's do it. Come to all our pop-ups, come to all our things. And that was when I really realized like being open to the public kind of wouldn't work for us. So we started with that. And then we started getting, well, I don't work with Just One Project, or I don't go to Dress for Success, or I'm not part of XYZ organization. How do I get a period kit? And so then we developed Finding Marilyn. And so what that is it's local businesses and agencies around town that hold the kits on our behalf. And all you have to do is go in during their regular business hours and ask for the bag Marilyn left for you, and they will give you a period kit. So our largest partners are our libraries. We are in all Clark County, all City of Henderson, and North Las Vegas libraries. And then we're in a handful of other locations like Just One Project, like Olive Crest, Anthem Wellness Center, Foundation for Recovery, the Center. Those are all Finding Marilyns as well. And you can find those on our website at projectmarilyn.com. And it's a great resource, again, for the woman that maybe doesn't need it every single month, but that month doesn't have period products. So they can go into the library. And the thing I love about our libraries is they are such great helpers of people. Librarians, I mean, never did I really work super closely with librarians, but now in this space, they're all lovely and they want to help, and they're helpers of the community. And there's no stigma with using a library. And most libraries are on a public bus route, so that eases transportation. And that's a way that we can broaden our service to more people.
And then let's talk about the need for this in the community. What is the need like that for people that don't know?
I mean, the need is huge, right? Like I said, you know, unfortunately, we don't have great statistics. We are actually working with UNLV School of Public Health on getting a survey launched about period poverty in the state of Nevada. But like I said, the national statistic is 2 in 5 can't afford annually, and then the 1 in 4 girls is missing school. So we give out over 4,000 of our period kits every month. And it's just growing because, like I said, I think people just don't realize if you serve a woman, if you serve anyone that has a period, they're going to need these supplies. And they're not free for the most part in public restrooms. And that's been the big push for us as well is, as a man, did you ever go into a bathroom and think, is there going to be toilet paper in here for this unplanned potty break I need? No man has ever thought that. But every woman is like, oh, shoot, I got my period and I don't have anything. And there's nothing in here. Or even better, there's an old, like, fossil machine hanging on the wall that's half broken, half falling off. And if it does work, it needs a quarter. And I don't know, last time you carried a quarter. Like, can this take Apple Pay? Can we do something to make this more modern? So, yeah, just really, I think the need is great. And I think that back to the original, what we started talking about, it may not be always someone that is truly unhoused living on the street. But women deserve dignity, and we deserve to hold our heads high and not be punished for a biological function that comes every single month from the time you're now 9, 10 years old, all the way up until you're in your 50s. And yes, you should be prepared. However, life is not, perfect science. So the more we can help support, raise awareness, diminish the stigma, have that conversation with men, with boys about this is going to happen, with mostly, and this is what I get criticized for too, I recognize that some women don't have a period for various reasons. This is a very broad conversation, right? Most women at some point will have a period, and our men and boys need to understand that it's not gross and it's not laughable and it's not shameful, and I always say you're only here because your mom did or didn't have a period, I guess, whichever way you want to look at it.
I like that. And then, how can the community support, how can businesses support Project Marilyn?
So as we said earlier, we are embarking on our very first golf tournament, right? And I know, again, too, golf tournaments, galas, all the time, dime a dozen, they're all the same. But we're gonna give it a shot, right? We're gonna take a swing at it, and we're going to, it's called End Period Poverty, October 16th. So we'd love people to come out and golf and support that. But in the big picture, donations, obviously, and that's been something too, if just scrolling back real quick to what's a challenge for a nonprofit, asking for money, right? It feels tacky. Can you give me money? But we need money, and we need unrestricted money. Right? I always say if you really love a nonprofit and you really want to make sure they're doing the right thing with your money, vet them out, put them through the gauntlet, but then give them the money and let them pay their bills and run their business. And, we have so many people that I just want to pay for the tampons. Well, okay, I can have a warehouse full of tampons, but I don't have gas. I don't have lights on. I don't have insurance, so I can't welcome. You should be able to do that with volunteers. Well, I can't have volunteers if I don't have insurance on my space. So, the dollars go further for us because we specifically can buy tampons by the pallet, and they're cheaper. So a tampon for us is like 11 cents when, 8, 9, 10 cents when retail they're 17, 18 cents. But we always appreciate monetary donations. We appreciate volunteers. We pack in our facility 3 days a week where we welcome groups to come in and volunteer. So, and really spreading the word about period poverty, what it really is, who it's really impacting, and just having those conversations. Money's important, volunteers are important, but with what we do, ending that stigma is it's really important. Somebody said to me, you might be the only nonprofit that can actually put itself out of business if you can get period products offered for free, right? Because I think Ireland did it, Scotland or Ireland, somewhere else did it where now the government gives free period products are free. So that would be nice. And we'll get a lot of hate for that, but here we are. Don't hate us.
Awesome. And so where can people find out more information about Project Marilyn and how to donate?
So they can visit our website. It's projectmarilyn.com. On our website, we have all of our sign up to volunteer, donate, register for the golf tournament, follow us on social media. We actually had a reel. What does going viral mean? Is it over 1 million views? Is that viral, or is there a metric for viral?
There's a lot of people will say different numbers.
Okay, because we have a reel that has 940-something thousand views. I'm so excited. I don't know what was the magic in that, but follow us on social media, support what we do, cheer us on. That's the best support we can get.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.